Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Rashiva here. If you're not new to this, then you're true to this and you're already subscribed, but if you're not, definitely hit that subscribe button. If you do like these New York City videos, please like and comment and let me know. This is a very much talked about topic for me. Not as much anymore since I've been here going on 3 years now, which I can't believe it's been 3 years, but I am happy to have been here for this long. This is a very long overdue video. Talking about like the how and the why I moved to New York City. A lot of people ask me this question because one, I didn't tell my parents, two, I did it all by myself, and I guess it's very weird for some people that a girl moves or a woman moves by herself. So I thought I would share the journey of what led up to me moving to New York City, how I did it, and now it's been 3 years. Okay, so let's get right into the video. Okay guys, so growing up, I've always wanted to live in New York City. I used to watch shows like the Cheetah Girls. Gosh, I'm blanking on all the shows I watched. Like I remember Gossip Girl was filmed in New York City. There's just a lot of shows that I watched that was based in New York City. Even movies that I'll go back and watch, I'm like, oh my God, this is in New York City. Like Uptown Girls for one, Brown Sugar. There's just so much films that's done here. And I was just like, okay, New York City seems like the place to be. Like I want to move there. So I graduated college. Then I took a gap year. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a gap year, figure out life. I've been working, going to school for the past 4-ish years. Like I need to take a breather and figure out what's my next step. So during that gap year, I worked at a job that I did not like or care for. If you were someone that was in my environment during that time, you very much knew it because I expressed it. This was not the job for me. And my boss even said it when she interviewed me. She's like, I don't really see you staying here long, but I'm gonna hire you anyway. And I was like, okay. And when me and her would have like our little personal chat, she would always say, you know, like I see you in a city like New York, LA, Atlanta. And I finally told her, you know, I actually want to move to New York City. And she's like, you should do it. I think before I was a little afraid to share with her just because I know from what other people tell me, you should never tell like your employer your next move because then they may start like plotting on you or sometimes fire you. In this case, she didn't. She supported me. Even like when I gave my like resignation letter, I still stayed there for a month. I actually stayed there for 2 weeks longer than I was supposed to. So, and she didn't care. She was fine with it. It worked out in my favor. Like she was a blessing. However, the environment of that office was not something that I enjoyed, but it was a great stepping point for me to get to where I need to be. So it's a month. Well, it was a few months before I decided to move. It was my birthday, and usually for me during my birthday, I like to reflect and just think like, okay, what have I accomplished this year? What am I happy about? Like how people think the new year or the New Year's like their moment to like reflect. My birthday is my moment to reflect. Well, I had been reflecting and my parents and my family was all calling me to wish me happy birthday, and I was just ignoring, dodging everyone's call. Then finally I was like, okay, I'm not happy in life. What is it that's wrong? Like I just do a lot of reflection, and I like to ask myself like, okay, something's not right with you. What is it? Like, let's figure this out. So for me, I wasn't happy with where I was in life, where I was living, what I was doing. I was like, this isn't it. I finally told my parents, like I finally called them, I think like a week or two later, and I was like, I'm gonna move to New York City. My mom was not happy about it. My dad was just somewhat hesitant, like, I don't know, like I'll support it, but do what's for you, but like just be careful. It came up on the end of my lease at my apartment that I was living at. I had to move out by the end of July, and I asked an acquaintance. I don't know why that word is so difficult for me sometimes. Asked an acquaintance, hey, do you mind if I just live with you for a month? I promise I'll be going a month. If I don't, I'll just find another apartment here or I'm moving to New York City. Like this is happening, I need to move. So she was like, sure, that's fine. So I was literally living on her couch for a month. And I think I say acquaintance because I think sometimes it's really who's around you that sometimes may be maybe blocking your blessing. That's what I want to say. Yeah, they may be blocking your blessing. I have complete love for her, totally support her in any endeavors, but I say all that to say, during that month, I had been searching for an apartment, like literally searching. Every day at work, I would go to work, do my work, and then look for an apartment the rest of the day. I was hopping out of meetings after work, going on like FaceTime calls, talking to people. They were touring me their apartment, everything. Finally, I found a girl. She was in Harlem, New York. I was like, okay, this is my apartment. Me and her, we had a FaceTime call. We got along. It was a great conversation. We actually started like a relationship. We started texting. Like, it was great. I'm like, okay, this is the apartment for me. Then I think I took a vacation or something. I don't remember what happened, but I remember I came back to work and I had like a really important meeting to go to. So me and the girl was texting and I'm like, hey, sure, just give me 1 second. I need to talk to my, like I'm in a meeting right now. I'll text you right when I'm done. Go into the meeting. The meeting was like an hour. So then by the time I came out of the meeting, she literally had like texted me all these text messages. And the last text message was like, I'm sorry, we have to go with someone else. Basically, she needed like a person, like needed me to like do some stuff in that hour, but she couldn't wait and someone else was interested in the apartment. So I was devastated, and honestly, that's a tip when you're looking for a New York City apartment. Take breaks from looking, because even during like this COVID phase that we're in, apartment can be up today, it's down tomorrow. It's up for an hour, it's down within the next hour. New York City apartments move fast. Things in New York City go fast. So if you want something in New York City, you have to already be ready for it. Like, prepare yourself and ask for it, and it will come or it will happen, because New York City does not play, in my experience, or how I feel like it doesn't play. So literally I was devastated, because out of all the apartments I had saw, this was the first apartment I feel like I saw where it was a black girl and it was all black roommates, and I felt like these are my roommates. Like, no, this is who I need to live with. The vibes was there, like, yeah. So that didn't end up working out. I was devastated. I took like the rest of the afternoon off from looking at apartments. I was like, okay, what went wrong with this apartment search, and how can I make it better for the next time I search for an apartment? So I figured that out, and I ended up getting my excuse my language, but I got my shit together. Then my acquaintance that I was staying with, she went out of town for a week, which was the second to last week I was there. I was thinking, it was a weird time frame, but it was like the second to last week I was there. So I'm like, okay, I need to like find an apartment. What am I gonna do? So while she was gone, I ended up going like extra hard. Like, I had took that break off. I started going extra hard. Ended up finding an apartment, submitting all of my documents, and was planning to move in the next week. It was crazy because I told her I was only gonna stay there a month, and the apartment start date was September 1. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am doing this. So a challenge that I faced, and I feel like a lot of people face in New York City when looking for an apartment at least, is you have to prove that you make 40 times the rent. If you don't, you need a guarantor that makes like 80 times the rent. I think these are like outrageous requests. But yeah, you have to prove 40 times, or your guarantor has to make 80 times. If not, they'll usually like ask for like other supplements. For me, because I wasn't telling my family, it was all on me. I was like, okay, I have to figure this out. Thankfully, my apartment leasing person that I found only made me submit a down payment, or like my I forgot the word for it, but I submitted a down payment, and I also submitted first month's rent. Or no, I hadn't paid first month's rent. I only submitted a down payment, had to show my credit score, and that was it. Which I thought was crazy. I was like, this is a little suspect. Is this like really, is this real? Luckily it was. So for me, and I know a lot of people find like their apartments through brokers. I didn't find mine through a broker, which I think maybe she was. However, I didn't have to pay her. The way it works in my apartment is they pay the broker once they fill the apartment. So the broker got paid like a percentage of what our rent was. And the broker had already had roommates. They just needed to fill the third room, and I ended up being the third roommate. And I think that things happen for a reason, because my roommates, one of them, at the time I was living in Gainesville, one of them was 2 hours away in Orlando, and my other roommate, she was already in New York City. However, she was from Florida, and I just thought, wow, that's a little ironic that both of my roommates are from Florida. The one that was from Orlando, we just did a FaceTime call, and then the other roommate, did we end up FaceTiming? Maybe we did. I honestly don't remember, because she like, that roommate was a little bit more like structured, and she was just more like, okay, just send me this information, great, I can't wait to room with you. And half the time we lived there, she was with her girlfriend most of the time, so it really didn't even matter. But yeah, so I ended up meeting them virtually. Then that week I had to figure out how I was gonna move. So originally I was gonna use U-Haul and move my stuff that way, but y'all, your girl savings was looking a little like, it was looking a little skim, because I had used my savings to pay for the down payment, and I was like getting rid of stuff, just like doing a bunch of like other little things, and unfortunately I didn't have enough money to pay for the U-Haul. To basically, it was like that box, I think it's called, what is it called? I think it's called the box or something, that white box, and it has red lettering, and you put your stuff inside and it moves it for you. That's what I was gonna use, but that was expensive. So I saw U-Haul had a version of it, but that was expensive. So I was like, okay, it seems like I'm just gonna have to rent a car and just move my stuff that way. I had to end up leaving a lot of my stuff at the acquaintance house, because the car I got, I couldn't fit a U-Haul hatch on the back of it. So I just left it at her house, and even that, getting the car was an issue. So basically I rented the car. At the time I was under 24, and I think to rent a car with certain like car reservations companies, you have to be a certain age. And I was renting an SUV because I needed the biggest car possible to bring all my stuff with me. I got to the place, and it was Labor Day weekend. Mind you, I'm moving the September 1st. It was Labor Day weekend. All of their SUVs was like, one, almost gone, and two, they didn't want to rent it to me, even though I had already prepaid everything online. They were like, no, you're underage, we can't do this. Literally, I'm on the phone talking to budget, because it was budget. I was talking to him online, I was talking to the manager. Like, it was this big fiasco. I was there for a good like 4 hours. Like, I had a plan to be packed up, ready to go, and then leave. Didn't happen. So I ended up waiting there, and the lady was like, you know what, we're just gonna give you the car. I don't know what came over her, but she gave me the car. I was so happy because it actually turned out to be a luxury SUV. It was such a nice car. Packed up all that I could, like I said, and then whatever I couldn't, I left that at the acquaintance's house. Then I left. From there, I drove to New York City straight, which I have a video on that. I'll leave it in the description box down below. Drove to New York City straight. It took me 23 hours. I took no breaks. I took a break to pee, and I kept going. That's it. Pee, get liquids, kept going. Got food. I remember I stopped at a place in South Carolina, and I got some pizza from the gas station and kept going. I was like, no, we're going. So that was my move. I hope that answers questions, because I get this question a lot, like, how did you move here? What made you? I really just always wanted to live in New York. Moved here, didn't have a job. That was another thing. So I was trying to decide, should I wait until I get a job, or should I just move here and look for a job? All of the mentors or people that I had in my life told me, just move to the city that you want to be in, and you'll find what you're looking for there. And I wholeheartedly believe that. But at the time I did brand ambassador work, and since brand ambassador work was anywhere, and I had been working with so many companies for so long, I just told them like, hey, I'm actually moving to New York City. Can you transfer me to the team in New York City? And they did. So when I got up here, I already had like gigs lined up. It was the best thing ever for me, because I had days where I was working in New York City, and I had days where I was able to just roam the city and have fun. Was a broke person, but I was happy. Like, that was my happiest moments ever. And I think just the innocence of being here, there was just so much that was happening. I was meeting so many people, saying yes to everything, just having experiences. It was the best thing ever. So yeah. So then I think like September, October, November, December. So 4 months later, I finally got a legit job. Well, I had a job before that. I started working at Urban Outfitters, which was my favorite job ever. I loved working at Urban. I worked at the Urban in Brooklyn, the one in Williamsburg. Go there, that's my Urban. or Space 98. I love that job. Like, I would still work there today. It's just unfortunately with my full-time job and the way my schedule is going to be set up, I just didn't want to drive myself crazy working my full-time and then also like rushing on the train when sometimes there's like train issues or things happen. So I didn't want to have to rush on a train back to Brooklyn to get to this job and just eventually hate it because it was turning into that. So I said, no, let me stop this relationship now while I still love this place and I'm still willing to come back and not get to a point where I just hate it and never want to come back. So that's what ended up happening. So yeah, I love that Urban Outfitters. Like, that's my place. But yeah, that's my journey. I highly suggest if you want to move to New York City, just do it. Just do it. Don't tell anyone if you don't have to. Just do it, because at the end of the day, this is your life to live, and there's nothing no one can do about it. If you're not doing it because of someone else, like, that person can, knock on wood, be gone today and you still have your life to live. So I don't regret this move. A lot of people ask me, like, where do I see myself next? Do I see myself staying in New York City? The first year I was here, being around the New York City parents, I know I don't want to raise a family here, but for right now, while I'm living my best life, I'm going to be here enjoying the city. Even through this quarantine, COVID phase, whatever we're in right now, I'm going to be enjoying it, but I don't regret my move. I think it was the best decision I ever made. So I highly suggest it if it's what you want to do. If you have questions, drop them down below. This is going to be a series I'm going to start, and I'm going to be touching on different parts or different topics around New York City. So I want to help as many people move to the city or move to their dream city. So I hope that answered the questions about how and why I moved to New York City. If you want more answers, or if I maybe didn't answer something else, I do have a podcast that should be out by the time I upload this video, which I will link down below. That I did answer questions about my move to New York City as well, and I have blog posts, I have other videos. All that information will be down below. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching this video. Thank you guys for being here. Please hit that subscribe button, like this video, comment, let me know, give me feedback. I'm like trying to work and get better at this. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for supporting, and yeah, see you guys in the next video.